Good evening, good evening. We are live. I'll just let it catch up a second. Good evening, guys. Welcome to the Accidental Journalist Live and Undrugged Series 2, Episode 1. Thanks as always to our sponsors at No Mean City Clothing, Armour Scaffolding, and Mr. James Jeffries. Tonight, we're in Italy, and I'm speaking with Maricla Pannocchia.
Yes, very good. Yes.
Okay.
Hi everyone, and thanks again for having me.
That's cool. Let me find out a bit about you before we start talking about some of your projects and stuff. Let me find a little bit about you. Tell me about
Sure. I'm from Italy, and I am a writer, and I've published 4 books, 3 books in Italian, and my latest book is in English, my first novel in English, that's for young people, and it's called The Letters from Afghanistan, and I will tell you more about the book later. And I've always been in love with writing, so it's like something that I really have to do. It's something that comes from the inside for me, and it's also like a way to play my small part to make the world a better place, because I always write about social causes that are close to my heart, like Afghanistan, but I also run my charity to support young people with cancer, which I've set up 7 years ago. So 2 books are about that, and the last book was the first book I've written. It's about the Holocaust, so you can see there are quite serious topics, but I try to give hope and to make a call to actions through this book, so that people reading them can find a way, can maybe get an inspiration to play a part as well, and to make the world a better place.
So
I do all these things. I also work as a ghostwriter and copywriter, so I'm very lucky, because I love my job, because I love writing. So I think that I'm very lucky, but of course it's not something that happened out of the blue. I worked a lot to get that. So yeah, just want to tell to people that you can actually get. I don't have a degree. I just have, I've attended high school and stuff, but I've managed to be able to be paid to write, which is what I love. So I think that it's a good example for aspiring writers and ghostwriters, that you can make it, and doesn't matter who you are, you don't necessarily have to have a degree. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I myself didn't learn to read and write until I was an adult. I was 21 years old, and I learned to read and write in prison. And I always said I'd be dangerous if I could read and write, and I never did anything with it. And it's only over these past few years, since I got sober, that I got looking into journalism and writing books and film and things like that. So I'm right with you there on the love of creativity and the love of writing, and it's helped me out of many a depressive spot, but it's also caused some mental health issues. The wanting to the wanting to win, the wanting to get there, wanting to get it done, and I've made some mistakes in there, but we all we can do is try and put the stuff out there. So tell me about Letters to Afghanistan.
Yeah, Letters from Afghanistan. It's a book, from Afghanistan, which I've decided to make available for free, so people can go to my website and they can download the book for free as a PDF. And the story is not set in Afghanistan. The main character is 14 years old Olivia, and she's just your regular teenager. She lives in California, and she spends the summer with her family in San Francisco, because her grandfather lives there. And her teacher set her up for an assignment. She has to write emails to a girl living in Afghanistan, because this teacher has a friend who has set up an organization there. So she wants to connect her pupils to the ones living there. So Olivia starts this assignment. She's bored. She doesn't think anything about this. But then after a few emails, the girls start to connect. They're both 14 years old, but their lives, of course, are very different, because Olivia is your average Californian girl, and Basia, the Afghan girl, she's studying hard because she wants to become a teacher, but she's afraid her father is going to marry her off soon. her sisters, which are like 17, 20 and stuff. They already are married and have children. And Olivia as well, she has an older sister who is 16, but she focuses on boys, on having fun, the regular stuff teenagers care about. And then something happens in Afghanistan, something happens to Basia and the other students, and Olivia has to decide if she looks away because it's just someone who lives far away, or if she tries to do what she can. She can't save the world, but she can help Basia and her friend. She has to fight against her parents because they don't support her, but she has her grandfather by her side and he leads the way. So the story is not really about Afghanistan, because I've chosen Afghanistan prior to what happened in August with the Taliban. I didn't have a clue because I've written the novel 5 years ago in Italian. And then I thought that the topic is very interesting and actual, and I think that it's never been done in such a way through email and stuff. And I wanted to translate it in English because it could reach more readers, of course. And the main goal of the book is to encourage people, especially young people, to take a stand and to care for each other, to care for people living in other countries as well, of course, as for people living in your own town, your own neighborhood, the stuff. And of course, I say it again, Olivia can't save the world, and no one can save the whole world. But if you do something just for another person, you can save that person's world, and you're living a useful life. Because I see quite a lot, I don't know about where you live, but where I live, I just moved to Rome, and I see a lot of people who focus, especially now that we were around Christmas time, a lot of people wasting a lot of money, buying expensive gifts, a lot of focus is on that, material things, being popular. And then the coronavirus that seems, if you get vaccinated, if you don't get vaccinated, and we are fighting against each other instead of fighting against the people who try to oppress us. I don't know if that's the right word. So I think that we should work together. We should really understand that we are in this together and that we are sharing this planet. It's not like you can, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me because you are living in this planet as well. So you have to care because it's your home as well. And these people who are suffering and your brothers and your sisters are people just like you. And I think that that's the main message of the book. It's not just to shed, of course, it sheds a light on Afghanistan, girls who are forced to marry and stuff like that, but also Afghanistan is just a country to represent all the countries. It could have been Syria, it could have been any other country which is going through something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you on the point that we need to teach our children to have a voice. Everybody needs a voice. My whole remit, and the reason that I do this, and the reason that I became the accidental journalist, is to give people that don't have a voice a platform, to give them a voice if they can't physically stand up and do it themselves. I have children, I have teenagers.
They have to read the book now. They have to read your book. It's
I do have a daughter that reads a lot, so if I get like things sent, I get her to read them because she really loves it. They have a voice and they know that they can speak up, and I've tried to teach them to speak up for other people, but it doesn't always, it's not always possible, and especially now in the time of COVID and all this, I think that this is a perfect platform to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why I write. It's the whole reason why I do this, to give other people a voice, and it's not always been easy. And I felt like do you ever feel like when you give other people a voice, even fictional characters, do you feel like you lose yours a little?
Do I feel
like you lose your voice a little when you give everything to a story?
Yeah, because when I write fictional characters, even if they're based on maybe real people or inspired by real people, I simply don't exist anymore. I become that character. So my own voice doesn't exist anymore. I feel like that. I think it's a very personal thing, but I think like that. Then I always add something like a note or something at the end of the book, which is my voice, and I try to explain, like I've done for letters from Afghanistan, because I wanted to point out that I've written the book prior to the Taliban taking over the country, because the situation would have been very different, the whole story, so I wanted to say that, and I wanted to say what I've just said right now, why I wrote the book, which is the main goal. I put it there, some calls to action, so my voice is outside from the main story. I really don't exist inside that.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's why I don't write fiction a lot, but because I get lost in it. I try not to read too much fiction as well, because I get lost in it, but I also get lost in real people and other people's stories, because I find that if something is well articulated, it's it sits somewhere between your heart and your soul, and
yeah, but I love that. I love a good fiction book. I think that if you find a gripping one, I don't really like many books, especially contemporary ones, because nowadays everyone think that you just publish anything, everyone can be a writer. So there's really a lot of stuff which is not good, I think. But when you find a very good book, even if it's a fiction, I try not to read very serious things, because I'm always surrounded by very serious things. So when I read something, I sometimes just want to wind down. But if it's a gripping book, I think I love the feeling of being inside the book, of feeling the characters' emotions and stuff like that. It's not something that's heavy for me, something that I actually look for.
yeah. I mean, when I discovered books, it was like a whole new world opened for me. Like I said, I couldn't read until, not properly anyway, until I was 21. So that world was always so far away. And I fell into film. As you can see, I have a big passion for film. But books have always been something, and films have always, and art is always something that I've been able to, no matter what frame of mind that I've been in, no matter what situation, whether I've been, homeless, on drugs, I've always found sort of solace in books and film, and I think that it's another world that it takes you to, and it's what I've tried to teach all of my kids, that books are great, and some of them love them, and some of them don't, some of them prefer games, but I think that we need to be trying to get more people to read, trying to get more people to pick up a book, especially during COVID, and lockdowns looming and things like that, and self-isolation and things. I fell into a really bad habit of, when we were in the first lockdown in Britain, in just watching films. I didn't pick up books. I couldn't concentrate on that long. And I wish I'd have picked up more books. And I wish I'd have read more. I've got a bookshelf full of books that I've probably never read. And there's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of facts. But, I wish more people would pick up books instead of.
I agree. I agree with you. Especially, I don't know in England, but here many young people, they just use the cell phones and stuff like that, and they don't really like to read. There are young people, of course, and people in general. Being a writer, I connect with a lot of people who are bloggers, and they love to read. So there are, of course, a lot of people who enjoy reading. But I think, yes, I think it benefits everyone, even if you don't aspire to become a writer. It just helps you to think another way, puts you in other people's shoes. I think it also may help to develop your empathy, because you become another person while you read. So I think it has a lot of benefits.
So tell me about, you're going to Turkey soon, is that right?
Yeah, I'm going there on the 14th of this month. so in about a week. And I'm going with an Italian NGO, which is set up by a regular woman, and she just travels there and to other refugee camps once a month to help these kids. Mainly, they are orphan kids, but there are also some families. And these are camps which, for various reasons, there can be like the big organization from the UN and stuff like that. So she's the only one, she and her team, they are the only one to bring assistance to these people. They have set up schools, they have set up programs to feed them, especially the orphans. There are a lot of groups of siblings with no parents. So, and then they show love, and I think it's the most important things, because if you think about people living even just for 1 week, and she does it every month for 1 week, and going there in the middle of nowhere among these people who have nothing, material things, and it says to them, I think you're important. I take this time out of my life. I take some risk because she sometimes travels to dangerous places, because I think you are worth it. And I think when you're a child, you have been through a war and you have lost your parents and everything, I think it's really important. I think it's even more important than giving them food. Of course, they have to eat. Of course, they have to learn to read and to write and stuff like that. But having someone who loves you unconditionally, because I think that's unconditional love. If you go once a month, despite your own problems, because she has family problems and stuff, she still goes there. And it's someone that, as you can see, that I really admire a lot, and I look forward to go there. And I will be writing about these people, but I want to write because the main goal is to publish a book, then to raise funds for a charity, of course. But I want people, Western people, to better understand the refugees, the people living in the refugee camp, because sometimes we hear, I don't know about England, but here there are many people who say, oh, just go back to your country, just go back home, but they don't have a country which is safe. They don't have a home. It's simply not possible, but people don't care. It's always the same point that I was touching on before when I was talking about my book. It's just to encourage people to put yourself in, to change perspective, to become someone else, and to better understand these people. So I now look forward to go, because we have talked this morning with this woman, and we have set up everything. We are just waiting for the day to arrive, and so I can't say much because I'm still here. I haven't been there yet, but it's something, yes, that I think more people should be doing something like that. And I don't believe in volunteering just for the sake of it. I think that you have to structure the thing. I love writing, so I want my final goal is to be paid to travel around the world to refugee camps, but just everywhere where there is a violation of human rights, to talk with these people and to make them more human. Because if you think about, I don't know, maybe more than 80 million refugees all around the world, it's such a high number that people lose sight of the human being, the single life. If you write about them and you say, this is their name, this is her name, she wants to become a doctor, this is his name, he lost his father, they become real. And maybe next time people see the war in Syria on the news, they remember they have read about these children, and they are like your children, like any one of us. It could have been us. I always say, just out of luck if we are living in Europe, in safe places and stuff like that. So that's what motivates me, and I wanted to go there and see with my own eyes, basically. Yeah.
I think that's very admirable. I did something similar back in 2016. I spent 6 months working with escapees of human trafficking, sexual slavery, and exploitation, and I wrote a book about it. And it affected me so much as a person, as a father, as a Christian, as a man in my town. It changed my career path. I couldn't write for quite a while after that, because it really kind of messed with my head. But it also made me look back at my childhood and some of the things that I went through. And I think I've been sending the book out to a lot of American people lately, and you know, the feedback that I'm getting back and the feedback that I've got from the books that I sold was that it's very powerful, but there are some people out there that they will try to push it away. They will try to call it crap. They will try to just make you feel like you haven't done good work because it makes them feel uncomfortable. You know, I've been banned from Facebook from posting it. I've had people threaten me because I put this realism there, you know, saying this is the problem, these are the stories, and these are the real people. And yes, some people were, yeah, they were quite nasty about it, but you know, there's a lot of people out there that you know, do more. The refugee thing is something that I wanted to do. I wanted to speak to refugees and do pretty much the same thing because, you know, even in our town, we have refugees. We have, you know, in the local city, it's become a new home for refugees, and it's great. And I think it's great, but the problem.
Yeah, what's here? Sorry for interrupting. Here in Rome, I just moved to Rome, and here there are many people coming from other countries, and there are. So I joined a few organizations that were looking like for volunteers for people to teach Italian, for instance, because otherwise they can't even apply for jobs. They can't understand what's going on around them. So I've been there last week for the first time, and it's been very lovely because these people are so grateful. If you go there and you just give you just give them 2 hours of your time just to teach them, I don't know, the future, the past, the verbs, stuff like that in Italian. And so, yeah, I think it's very important. You don't really have to go to a refugee camp. Just this is a bit extreme. I always wanted to go, so that's why I'm the person that I love to travel. So I also like that aspect, and I also like to know more about the culture of other people, of other countries. So I also want to put inside the book not only the life in the refugee camp, but I want to talk with them and to ask them about their traditions, their songs, their poems, the books, everything, because I personally don't know anything about this stuff. I don't know the most famous books in Syria or the poems kids study at school, stuff like that, the songs they like, the games children plays. And so, yeah, I love this kind of things. And that's also why I moved to Rome, because being a town which hosts people from around the world, you can take part in various events where you can actually, you don't really have to leave the city to, I don't know, experience a Buddhist ceremony. And then I went to a concert. It was a list of songs for Christmas from all around the world with the refugees in the audience. And it was to raise funds for an organization that supports refugees. So there were people from all over the world. And Italian people that decided to step out and to help them, to help these people. So this is the kind of world that I want to be in. So I think there are good people that are doing very, very good things. So I think that we also have to find our tribe of people, because there are, I'm saying this to anyone listening, that sometimes you may feel alone, you may feel like you're the only one thinking or saying certain things. I say it because I felt like that for my whole childhood and teenage years and basically my whole life until now. But if you get out of the place you've been living in, and yeah, I think you can find people who think like you, and it changes you completely, because it's like yeah, an everyday it becomes like an everyday thing, basically, like living here. I can choose to attend all these events without even leaving Italy. And yeah, it's something I really recommend everyone doing.
Yeah. You can never get too much culture in my eyes. You know, again, I try to teach my children that knowing other cultures is important. we live in a very multicultural town. We have a very multicultural church. So yeah, I think it's very, it's needed, especially in this day and age when there's so much rhetoric and there's so much hate out there. There's the poison of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You know, there are all these people that you know, all trolls, and there's just so much negativity about. And
yeah, I think negative people just have their own issues, like they attack other people, but because they have their own problems. It's not a justification at all, but when they say something negative about you, I've never had any troll. I don't know if I'm just lucky or I don't know, but I never experienced something like that. But I see that when people, like, I don't know, they say you're good for nothing, your book is not good, like you were saying, they maybe are envious because you have a success, or just maybe because they would like to do the same thing. They are not happy with their life. Maybe they're not happy with themselves. I think that there is a reason for that. And yeah, I see a lot of people not content with their lives. I see a lot of people wanting, I don't know about the UK, but here I see a lot of people wanting to change, a lot of people that want to stop working like the traditional jobs, and they want to become, to travel the world and to work from a laptop like I do, because being a writer, I can do that, but I'm not actually traveling the world because of the COVID right now. But I see a lot of people that try to make a change. So I think when someone maybe is not able or doesn't have the guts to do that, they attack the people who are doing, at least they're doing something to become more happy, while they are not.
yeah, there are people out there that I don't think they ever have any other sort of agenda than making other people miserable, and dragging other people down. You know, when I first got sober, just slightly over 7.5 years ago now, there were so many people that tried to pull me down, that tried to bring in negativity. Oh, but you did this, and but you did this, and but you did this. And I know I did this, and I know I did this, and that I suffered greatly from guilt and shame. And that's what they want to do. They want to make you feel bad because of the life that you've lived, and that, you know, and the pain that I've caused others. But doing this, you know, the last series, so many people contacted me saying, thank you for doing this, because it's helped us out so much, or it's made us think this way and it's made us think this way. And I think it's sad that there are negative trolls out there that have got nothing better to do than try and destroy a person. You know, I'm, like I say, like I told you before we started, I usually do true crime, and there's a lot of negativity in the podcasting world for that. You know, and it's just people slating people, and it's not nice to watch. It doesn't make you feel good as a viewer, and you know, if you're on the end of it, it makes you feel even worse. Last year, I lost friends to suicide, friends on Facebook to suicide. You know, 4 people that I know of last year for suicide. No, 5, because of the negativity, because of the trolling, because they got nothing, because other people have got nothing better to do. And I think,
I think these people, like the trolls, I think they don't realize the power they have, because maybe they just think, oh, I'm behind a screen and I can write anything about anyone, but they don't stop and think how this person can feel about their words. We say they are just words, but being a writer, words are very, very important. They can actually kill people, or they can push people too much. So I think that's very important to be careful and to always be respectful. I think that everyone should be free, as long as you don't hurt anybody and you don't hurt yourself. And I think you can do pretty much what you want in your life. And if everyone So that way, I think it will be very different. I don't mind any other people's business. I don't care. Honestly, I'm being very honest. If, of course, if friends ask me for a suggestion for help, of course I step in. But I will never judge a person. Also because you don't know the whole story. Most of the time, you don't know what happened before, why the person did such a thing. You can't know. You just assume. So who are you to judge another person? We all made a mistake. So I think that we should be more respectful, more careful, but it all goes back to being more concerned about each other. And it's not something that I see so much nowadays. I see the opposite, like we were saying. I see a lot of division. I see a lot of people trolling each other, a lot of negativity also in the news, the mainstream news. So I think that's why I think that's important to empower people and young people, especially also through books, to say you are unique, you are powerful, because then society makes you believe you are not powerful, you're just an average person. But each of us is very, very, very powerful. Then things happen in life, these things break you down, but you are still, maybe you are even more so powerful. And I think if any person was encouraged to actually be who they are and to be powerful, then we all could do much more, I think, and we will be happier, honestly. I know that it's like living in a fairy tale, but I think I don't know, I feel compelled through my books, through my work in general, to encourage other people. And like you were saying, also to me it happened that people wrote to me and they said that your book changed my life. Now I'm going to help people. Now I'm going to educate myself more. Now I care more. And I think this is the reason I don't do it for money, because I work as a ghostwriter. That's where I get paid. And I do it because all the books that I publish, they are out from my heart, and they are stories I have to tell. And yeah, so I think we are really similar in this vision as well.
Yeah, I understand that. Words are a very powerful thing. You know, I'm a man that's lived a lot of violence and seen a lot of violence. Yeah, I would rather take a punch to the face than bad words, because words can scar, they affect you deeply. I found that out as a kid, and it stayed with me my whole life and caused me trauma my whole life. The right placed word can lift someone up, but the wrong placed word can kill someone.
I'm writing. Yeah, you know that there is a client who's making me write a book about this now. It's about how your mind works, and the science has proved that the world that you live in, from when you are a baby to when you are 5 years old, it's when you are formed. Your mind is formed. So if a child is exposed to negativity, to violence in these early years of his life, then he's going to grow up and he has to fight a lot to break down all these paradigms, I can't pronounce it, and that you have in your mind. So if you're being told you are good for nothing, you're good for nothing, you're good for nothing, day after day for your whole childhood, basically, you end up believing you're good for nothing. And if you have to change your mindset, it takes a lot of work. It actually works like that. And I see when I was writing this book and these days for this person, I said, yeah, that's how it works. That's why we are all messed up. And these scientists, they say we are all fucked up when we are just 5 years old. If you think about it, we are already done. Then we have to work through all this mess, basically. Yeah, so I really see you.
Yeah, mindset is a big one for me. I had a certain mindset, and to change that, you know, there's a saying, a leopard can't change its spots, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that basically means that once you're of a certain age, you can't change.
You can, but it's
and you
very,
can,
very,
yes.
yeah, you can. I'm writing, this book now. There are all the technicians. You can do the exercise, you can do, but it says it takes a lot of time. And it starts from the understanding that most of the things we believe in, most of the things we do, they don't come from us, but from people who have affected us, like parents mostly, and then the family, the teachers, and all these people when we were growing up, and also like watching television, being exposed to this negativity also in the media, and spending time with people we don't have anything in common with, stuff like that. it all impacts our mind, and then we become the person when we are an adult. We think, I think that, but it's not true. You don't really think that. It's just your subconscious that has learned a lesson and it thinks that's true, but it's not true. So I don't know why I'm trying to explain all these things in English. Yeah, but because I think it's really important for people to understand that we can change, because many people think, I was born like that, I was born a good for nothing person, I will never be able to do anything good with my life. That's not true.
Yeah, I understand that more than most. I think I changed my life at 38. I changed my mindset at 38. At 30, at 39, 40, I got into writing the books. It's not always been easy. It's not always come easy to me, with mental health issues and depression and things like that, and brain damage. But for me, I'm not the person that I was before I went into the hospital. I totally changed. I'm not the same person. And there are people out there that don't believe that I'm a different person. They believe that, these lies that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But, in my 40s, my life is completely different. Doing this, speaking to people from all over the world. Occasionally I go on other people's podcasts and get to speak to that, tell my story. And it's just the English language to me, and writing and books, even fiction, for and journalism and things like that. They have changed my life so much, and I know that there are people out there that need it, and that I know that once they get into that world, it's it's only up from there. But it's, how do we get people to pick up books? How do we get people to want to read in a society where it's all consumerist and everything can be done on this?
Yeah, they can read on Kindle. Yeah, no, but I agree with you. I also think your story, from the bits that you told me, that I think it's a very inspirational one, and you are a person, of course, an inspirational person, because as I was saying, I also changed my mindset a few years ago, and I'm 37 now, so it happened like 2 years ago, when I decided that I was done with living that kind of life, because I have a toxic family, and I stopped seeing them, and I moved to another city. So I've done quite a lot of things, and then I changed my own mindset, like we were saying, and I've seen a lot of benefits. I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of good things coming into my life easily, way more easily than before, because I'm more open, I'm more connected with my real self, I'm surrounded by people I feel a strong connection with. So I think that then in the end you are going to, but it takes a lot of time. It took me 2 years just to arrive here, and I'm just at the beginning. I know this. So, and I think this is what stops most people, because people, especially nowadays with technology, they want everything now. They don't have the patience to work. They don't want to have the fatigue to work. They have a lot of things going on in their daily lives. And why should I be working on myself? I know who I am. I can't change. Just that fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, which is the one we should have, of course, to thrive in life. So yeah, I think we ended up talking about an interesting topics that people should explore more. I think, yeah, through books, but also, I don't know, maybe also online. There are a lot of articles they can start with, I think. Yeah, then I have 10 minutes then, and then I have to go. I'm just telling you that. So if maybe we want to, I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. Where can we buy your books from?
Yeah, the book is downloadable for free, so they don't have to buy it. As I was saying in the beginning, they just go to my website. Maybe you can, I don't know if you can insert it.
Yeah, I will attach it to this.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's better because there is no point in saying it in Italian. And you go there and you basically download the book, and yeah, just like that. And then people can review it. Of course, I'm on Goodreads, and I'm also on Instagram. I really don't care much about the algorithm, and then I don't really understand that stuff. But I just try to use Instagram to talk with the international audience, because I use Facebook to talk with the Italian audience. And yeah, I've met quite a lot of people, interesting people on Instagram, which I've read the book, and then many of them have stepped up and they contacted me and just said, I want to donate money to a charity in Afghanistan because I've read your book. Can you help me find one? So then there are nice things that happen, and I try to have even if I don't have many followers, but it's not that, just maybe for that one person then decides to educate himself more or herself more. So I try to use Instagram for that, to shed a light also there on stories and that people should be aware of, and I don't really care if they're popular or not. Honestly, I think people, like nowadays here in Europe, we see all these people dying at the borders. And if you really think about that, we are in 2022 and people are left to freeze to death. Children are left. This is horrible, and it's something people are getting used to. People are getting numb. It's like some people are meant to have that kind of life, but that's BS to me, because that's not how it should work. People who say, God, please help us. God has nothing to do with that for me. This is people damaging other people, because there is greed, there is violence, there is war. So I think people should have to be reminded. So it's not an easy an easy profile, the one that I have on Instagram. I also try to shed something positive, of course, to promote my books and stuff, but I think that I'm compelled to use the social networks in that way. Like Facebook, I have my page where I share childhood cancer awareness stories through my charity, because young people and then their parents share their stories with me. So I have the audience in Italian, and yeah, that's quite a big page, Facebook page. So I think that's how I wanted to use this social media, not just to collect, likes and followers and buy followers. So I think I also hope some people maybe will be following me, and yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I will link your website and any social media that I can find. I'll link it to this video in the next day or so, and it will go out as always on the web page and on YouTube. I'm going to wrap this up, and then we'll just have a quick chat. Thank you guys as ever for tuning in, and I shall see you again. Actually, I believe in a few days' time. We've got some stellar content coming over this next couple of months, so do keep your eye out. Cheers, guys.